References. References everywhere. Danganronpa, Terra for Mars, Madoka Magica, I can go on. There's just so many references in this episode that I don't think any of us really saw coming. I mean, Umaru, or Himouto, has had references before in previous episodes, but not to this extent. Like, some of the references were just really out in the open. Like, anyone that has watched some of these anime series could easily tell that these were obvious anime references. And when I was watching this episode, one of the references that really stood out for me, that really made me laugh, was the Danganronpa Despair reference. Ooh, poo, 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 poo. You know, that reference. Oh my god. That right there got me, because the thing is, I know Danganronpa, when it comes to the anime, there is a lot of anime fans that do not actually like the anime of Danganronpa, and I can understand that, because I've actually played the game of Danganronpa, and I have seen the comparisons and stuff, and so I can understand that, but getting to see, that type of reference in Himouto definitely took me by surprise, because I never in a million years expected to see a Danganronpa episode reference, or a reference to Danganronpa in Himouto. That was the one type of series I never expected a reference towards, especially in this type of series. And then Terra for Mars, what the living fuck? That reference right there, what? Like, out of all the things that could be referenced, it's not even that. One of the things that just shocks me about that, it's not just Danganronpa reference that we got with Monokuma. It was Terra for Mars got a reference in this episode. And that, I don't know how to feel about that, because if you know about Terra for Mars, that is a very gruesome series. The manga and anime, in a certain extent, the uncensored version, to be exact, of Terra for Mars. But that series is, like, far away from what Himouto is about. Himouto is comedy slice of life, and Terra for Mars, well, let's just put it this way, it's people getting destroyed, fatality. That's what goes on in that series, and to see how there was a reference to that in this, I'm going to assume the reason why we either A, got that reference is because the mangaka loves those series and decided to add in those references just to shout out those different mangaka, or B, the anime studio that is producing this series decided to throw in that type of reference because there is going to be another season of it coming out very soon. For instance, Season 2 of Terra for Mars will be coming out, and that is one or the other. We'll have to see, but still, the point stands is those two references with Danganronpa and also with Terra for Mars, left field when it comes to references. Like, I can understand a Madoka Magica reference, but even then, that's a little bit dark, too, because Madoka Magica is kind of dark. It is a kind of a dark series, if you do think about it. And so, there's a lot of dark references in this episode of Himouto. It kind of goes to show you what type of writer writes this manga. I mean, for a writer to really love that dark type shit, they write this fluffy, happy-go-lucky manga series, Himouto. Just kind of funny. The scene with the chocolates, or the burnt cookies, to be exact. Kirei, her cookies, she messes them up. And she accidentally gives bad burnt cookies to Umaru's older brother. And in the act of this, she wants to apologize. And so, like, there was an entire quarter of this episode that was used for her trying to apologize to him. She was very embarrassed, very shy, and we know how her character is. She was just very scared and did not know how to react, and eventually it came down to where she actually did apologize and said sorry, and they kind of made up. So getting to see how Kirei was in this episode, it definitely moved her up a couple pegs when it comes to one of my favorite female characters of the series. Umaru is still my favorite, but when it comes to Kirei, I think she is number 2, like, second best girl of the series. Just seeing her and how she acted in this episode when it came to making chocolates to cookies and stuff, it was very fun. And one thing I do have to mention that was really fun too was the pudding scene. The pudding scene was fucking hilarious. That was so good. Like, that scene with the pudding and Umaru realizing she ate the pudding, that was like that moment when you realized you were half asleep and you fucked up and thought you didn't eat the pudding. You're so tired you couldn't even cherish eating that food because you were so tired. I have to admit, that's happened to me in the past. I have done something like that. I can't deny that. There was many times in the past when I think I had some form of chocolates and sweets. I was, like, so tired, I ate them so quick because it was so late, and then I went to bed, and you don't really remember it, or you don't really get to relish the taste because it's so quick and you're so tired you can't really care for it. You couldn't be bothered about it. And that's kind of how that was in this episode of, Himouto, seeing how Umaru reacted. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about this week's episode of Himouto? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.